Today, the FDA put the brakes on antibody tests. Roughly 200 hit the market in recent weeks amid few restrictions. Now the agency says guardrails are needed, writing in part, "We unfortunately see unscrupulous actors marketing fraudulent test kits to take advantage of Americans." So far, the FDA has only granted emergency authorization to 12 antibody tests. The makers of the rest will have to apply within 10 days, showing their positive readings are 90% accurate and negative readings 95%. Anyone looking to be tested should make sure the test used is on the FDA's shortlist. There are some clinics like this one offering antibody tests along with doctors' offices and hospitals. There are no FDA-authorized at-home antibody tests. The existence of antibodies prove that someone has been exposed, and while health experts believe they could provide protection from the virus, so far they don't know for sure.
It's certainly worthwhile if you're conducting studies in a given town to know the people that have been infected with the virus.
It's good for research. It doesn't punch my ticket to go walk out on the streets and do whatever I want.
That's right. We still don't know what being antibody positive means.
In South Korea, there were reports of people being reinfected. Now, health officials say there were errors in testing. But with uncertainty remaining about antibodies, finding a vaccine is even more important.
I think we're going to have a vaccine by the end of the year. Now, the doctors would say, well, you shouldn't say that. I'll say what I think.
There are promising signs. 6 vaccines are already being tested in human clinical trials, and dozens more are in development. Dr. Peter Hotez, who is developing a vaccine himself, worries that trying to speed up the process may sacrifice the public's confidence.
I don't think we should have magical thinking that we're going to have a vaccine in the matter of weeks or months.
There is no way to cut corners, he says. A safe, effective, and trusted vaccine takes time. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, New York.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.